Okay.
Welcome to episode number 282 of the Beyond Social Media Show, the podcast for all of you marketing, advertising, public relations, and communications professionals. You can find us by searching for Beyond Social Media Show. We're recording on September 27, 2019. A lot of things to talk about this week. Greta Derangement Syndrome, new Amazon products, hashtag Halloween, Twitter swipe lists, school shooting PSA, audio applications, live action cooking classes, control labs, influx of influencers, disappearing social proof, and a lot more. And BL kicks it off with the best story of the week. As usual, BL, what do you got?
Well, this is, we're all familiar with the wonderful Greta Thunberg, and this is the Greta Thunberg helpline for adults who are angry at a child. And it comes from Mark Humphreys, who's a comedian, but he set up this satirical helpline. So you call up and these people talk, what are you so angry about? And one of them says, I'm angry because she's making the end of the world sound like the end of the world. And then Greta, who has a great sense of humor and who is more adult than most of the adults involved in this whole conversation, she tweets, hang in there, help us on the way. So, she's not just wise beyond her years, she's funny too. Really, I'll put a link to it. There's some really funny ones, but my favorite was, it's acting like the end of the world. It's the end of the world.
That's all good. Big new announcements from Amazon this week. This is from CNBC's Annie Palmer and Todd Hazelton. So Amazon announced more than a dozen new Echo-enabled products on Wednesday, including an interesting, I don't know if it's a product or a service or a technology, something called Sidewalk, which is a new wireless technology that they say will have longer range than Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. So, if you set up your Wi-Fi at home, you'll sometimes notice you don't get entire coverage over, and Bluetooth has limited range. This is intended to be longer range than that. So presumably you can listen to the Twins game while you're cutting the lawn on your smart speaker. So that looks cool. But I'm most excited about something we talked about in a previous episode, Echo Buds. So this is Amazon's competitor to Apple's AirPods, which are the wireless earbuds that Apple has introduced, and Echo is following up with this competitor. It's $129 for the earbuds. It has Echo built into them. I think I just tripped my Echo speaker.
How much are the Apple earbuds? Do you know? I think they're $179.
Yeah, I think they are $179.
Really on everybody.
But that's what Amazon does. Is Amazon basically sells their hardware at what it costs to make them, so they don't make a profit on their hardware. They figure they're going to make a profit from people using their hardware by being more loyal to Amazon and being able to buy things through their products. But these are great. So they've got at least a 5-hour battery life. There's noise cancellation technology from Bose embedded in the earbuds. I'm going to try them out as soon as possible because that makes the voice activation technology even more ubiquitous, as I've been saying ad nauseum. Another new product is Echo Studio, which is a more high quality Echo smart speaker, high quality speakers. It has a 3D sound from Dolby Atmos. It is competing with Apple's HomePod, and that's $199 price point on that. They have a smart oven for $249. That's Echo enabled.
Without you being home?
I'm sorry?
Does it cook your dinner without you being in the house?
I don't think it goes that far, but maybe. I don't know. I didn't look into it that much. It's convention cooking and air fryer. But you apparently will be able to scan products and get cooking information off the scan from those.
I have an item about that later.
Okay. Fetch. this you'll want to look into, BL, although I know you don't like the smart speaker stuff, but Fetch is a product that you can attach to your dog's collar so you can track your dog
Oh, I
if
like
it
that.
gets lost. Yeah. Under development is Echo Frames. So we talked about the Bose glasses that have the speakers embedded in the frames and use bone conductivity to project the sound. It's basically the same thing, but these are prescription glasses. They have 2 built-in microphones, but no cameras or display. So it's only for voice activation and playing music
That should
and
do it
audio.
lots for podcast listening.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah, I want them for that.
There you go. And then finally, Echo has a new feature. It's AI. They're using AI to mimic celebrity voices. So for 99 cents, you can buy a pack of celebrity voice for your voice-enabled device. And the first one they're offering is Samuel L. Jackson. So you can have Samuel L. Jackson tell you the weather and set alarms and play music. You can choose from a clean or explicit version of it, which is a nice touch. That is set to roll out later this year, and then more celebrity voices apparently are
And how
going to
much
be
is
available
that?
in 99 cents for a pack.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
now this is getting to be a must-have.
Yeah, there you go.
So, switching the subject, Halloween is around the corner, believe it or not. And Twitter has some notes that are supposed to help you maximize your Halloween tie-ins for your brand. And within the suggestions, there are a couple of hidden gems of information that will likely apply to any tweet strategy beyond Halloween. So this is from a Social Media Today article by Andrew Hutchinson. And so the first thing they tell you to do, definitely use hashtags, pretty straightforward and simple. And they point out that if you want your tweets to be included in a trending stream, you need to use the right hashtags. And these are likely to be the most common conversation points. Don't overdo it, though. They claim that 1 or 2 hashtags are enough. And sometimes you see people using 10. Like, if they don't get the right one in that 10, they're afraid they won't get it. Just think about what you're talking about and find 2 hashtags. Do tap into existing trends, tap into the larger conversation, but make sure you have some relevance to your brand. So last week they gave an example of Chopped. Last Halloween, they had a jack-o'-lantern that kids used to put their candy in, and their sandwich was in it, and they said, even our salad dressed up this year, happy Halloween. That was a good way to do it. And then they suggest you don't be afraid to create a custom hashtag, but I think that's kind of bad advice because how do you get people to use your custom hashtag without a whole lot of other promotion? But they suggest you use hashtags in advance. Start using them before Halloween or whatever event you're trying to promote. But I think that, again, is not great advice because of the real-time nature of Twitter. They point out that on Pinterest, people start talking about Halloween in July, which may be because they make products that are for Halloween and they have to create them. I don't know why they start talking about it in July, but I know a lot of people do their Christmas shopping in July. So maybe it's the same thing. But I don't think on Twitter talking about Halloween in July is going to help your brand very much.
Yeah, I usually use 3 hashtags, sometimes 4. Usually 3 is my standard hashtag number. I do use a custom hashtag for my Minnesota Vikings chat website. So if you're building a community, obviously on Twitter, you want to use a custom hashtag to do that, just like any Twitter chat. So I'd put in that. Speaking of Twitter, though, Twitter has a new feature that they've rolled out or are rolling out. This is from The Verge. Chaim Gartenberg wrote this one, and they are now letting you add up to 5 lists as alternative timelines that you can scroll through. So you've got your main timeline, your default timeline. Now you can pin 5 of your lists, and if you use lists, this is a great feature that you can use as an alternative timeline. And then on the mobile app, you can swipe through those those lists to follow those list timelines. I did a little short video on how that works, and we'll include that in the show notes. I have a personal Twitter account, obviously. I have lists of media members by the beat they cover, so I would use that, and then I have a list for subject matter experts by the topic of their expertise. I also have, as I mentioned, my Minnesota Vikings chat account. I have fellow Vikings chatters that we talk about the Minnesota Vikings with, and that's a list I would swipe through. Reporters that cover the team, current and former players' accounts. But it makes it much easier to follow the tweets of people on your list. Previously, you kind of had to do this through TweetDeck. But now you can do it on the mobile app, and it's a lot easier to use. You can also follow public lists that other people have created. And Twitter apparently is also overhauling the design of the list page, and is going to, I haven't seen this feature yet on any of my accounts, but it's apparently going to allow for header images, allow you to upload a header image for each individual list, and then have a more prominent view of the list members and subscribers. Now, the only thing that I'd add that they should offer us is the ability to search just the tweets of people on a given list, because I have all these lists of experts on a given subject, and if I want to find out what everybody's saying about a given topic, I have to scroll through the list. I just want to search for it and find those tweets.
Well, I don't have that yet, but I love that idea. I believe that it is only going to apply to your public lists, and I have a lot of private lists. But nonetheless, it will still be helpful.
Well, you can still follow your private lists. It's just not, your private list will remain private, but you'll be able to follow them on, if you want to pin it, you'll be able to do that.
Oh, okay. Well, I can't wait till I get that, because I use my lists a lot.
Yeah.
I have like 40 of them. So this is not a happy topic. This is the most powerful ad I really have ever seen on school shootings, and I guarantee when you watch it, it will upset you. This ad is from Sandy Hook Promise, which are the parents of the kids who were killed at Sandy Hook. And this is from a story in Adweek by Jane LaFear, sorry. And the video starts out really cheery. I got a great backpack for school. And then this girl has notebooks, and she says, these are going to help me be organized. And then this kid comes running down the hall, and he says, and I have the perfect running shoes for running from a shooter. And then behind him, there's an active shooter. And then you see the perfect jacket to tie a door shut, and the socks you can use as a tourniquet on your wounded student who's next to you. And then it ends with a girl who says, I finally got my own phone, and I'm texting my mom, and it says, I love you, Mom. And then you hear the footsteps come in the room, and it says, it's back to school time, and you know what that means.
Yeah, it's a very powerful ad. It
won't change anything.
Well, the gun debate is all screwed up. The media coverage is about the school shootings, and I understand why. But, statistically speaking, there's a lot more people dying of individual gunshot wounds out there in the world than there are kids getting shot up in a school.
Yeah, but it's part of our reality now that it's going to happen in another school.
It is. I'm just saying the gun debate
minimized.
That's what the media focuses on, while the larger issue is just the prevalence of guns and people getting picked off one at a time. It's more horrifying when it's at a school and there's children there, but
Well, yeah, because it's a problem no other country in the world has but ours.
Yeah.
So it's a very big and very horrible issue. But anyway, what's your next one?
Yeah, nicer news. This is another Amazon story. This is actually a McDonald's story from Media Post. Chuck Martin wrote about McDonald's having added to Amazon smart speakers and Google smart speakers the ability to apply for a job through your smart speaker. So this is voice activated application process, basically, that McDonald's is calling apply through. And so it lets users of Amazon Echo or your Google Home to start your application process for a job using your smart speaker. To start the process, you would say, Echo, help me get a job at McDonald's. Or if you're on the Google Home device, wake word for the home device, talk to McDonald's, apply through, and then it takes you through the process of starting to apply for a job. I imagine I didn't go through the process because
You don't
I
want to
don't want a
look at
job at McDonald's, but I imagine that it would take you through and take you through some of the basic information that they need to collect to start the process, and then probably send you a link to complete the process on the website. But there you go. That's a clever use of voice
very
activation.
interesting idea.
It's a clever use either to get media, which they've clearly done, or if it's well executed, a clever use of actually recruiting new employees. But we'll see whether the execution is actually good enough. So
If it is, that's something that will likely catch on in a bigger way.
Yeah.
So talking about Amazon, there's a new streaming service called What's for Dinner, and this comes from for $7 a month. There's a Bloomberg story by Jerry Smith, and for $7 a month, the Food Network Kitchen, which is owned by Discovery, is offering live cooking classes with famous chefs, and Amazon in certain cities will deliver recipe ingredients to you. And so Discovery CEO calls it the Peloton for food. So they have this service that will let you watch live cooking classes with famous chefs and then have your recipes delivered via Amazon, who's a partner. And Amazon will let subscribers call up the cooking classes using Amazon Echo. And in some cities, you get your food from the recipes through Amazon Fresh, their grocery delivery business. And so you're going to have access to classes with chefs from the Food Network, including Bobby Flay, Rachel Ray, Guy Fieri. And I love this. During the week of Thanksgiving, Martha Stewart will stream herself making a turkey each day. So Discovery CEO says the idea began last Thanksgiving when the Food Network's website got 84 million visits over 3 days. So they're not, the only big player in the field. BuzzFeed's Tasty has millions of people who are watching their wonderful cooking videos, and they're shared, every day on social media. And they partner with Walmart, where you can buy Tasty branded kitchenware and add ingredient lists from the videos into your online grocery cart. So this is something that is also kind of a new idea that I think more brands may tap into. And, is there a need for another streaming cooking service? Who knows? But the players are certainly big, and the chefs sound great.
Yeah, it's I think it's a clever idea, coupling those two services together, basically cooking classes and being able to have the ingredients sent to you to make the class as well. I use my iPad for watching YouTube videos to make recipes and stuff in the kitchen all the time. So
Tasty has their own cooking appliances. Which is really clever.
Wow,
yeah. So you can buy, their appliances. That's just really a brilliant tie-in, and I'm sure that Amazon has enough cooking things that can be delivered to you. I bought my frying pans there, so I'm out of good news.
All right, well, we're on the bad stuff then. What do you got?
Well, Facebook is looking at mind control. Facebook spent more than $500 million to acquire a company that may help connect Facebook directly to your brain. This is from a Social Media Today story, and also from Bloomberg News, and it's Andrew Hutchinson and Kurt Wagner. Facebook acquired this startup called Control Labs, and they were working on software that would enable you to control a digital avatar using only your thoughts. So it's a closely held company. It's a 4-year-old startup. It has dozens of employees. It's very under the radar. It's raised tens of millions of dollars in venture capital. It uses a bracelet to measure neuron activity in your arm to determine movement that you're thinking about, even if you aren't physically moving. I find this horrifying. The activity is then translated into a movement on a digital screen. So it may someday be a crucial part of products like augmented reality glasses, where you might want to control a computer without needing buttons or a keyboard. Your hands could be in your pocket behind you. The chief executive, Thomas Reardon, is the chief executive of Control Labs. And its intention is to move, not the movement itself that controls the avatar. And, there's a lot of benefits to a system like this. The innovation could help people with severe paralysis, similar to how automated image recognition technology helps people who are visually impaired. But the big question is, would you let Facebook directly into your brain?
So yeah, I was wondering why you had this in the worst. I mean, it's not Facebook controlling your mind; it's your mind controlling your computer. And we've talked about this before.
Allowing Facebook to be in your brain.
Yeah, well, here's the thing.
It's your decision. They're not doing it without your permission. But then again, we've given them permission to all of our privacy. Right, so right. Your brain is next.
Well, this technology, regardless of whether it's Facebook or anything or anybody else, is inevitable. I mean, it's been around forever. We've talked about it in the show before about using your mind control. We've both done this, using this in the applications, as you said. I mean, for video games, oh my God, that'd be fantastic because I'm not that good. I want my mind to be able to be faster than my fingers are. But so there's the one thing, but the other thing is, this type of technology is also used for rewiring the brains of people who have like traumatic brain damage and stuff like that.
There are definitely good uses, and I would be all for it if it wasn't involving Facebook and my privacy. I mean, I think we have talked about this. I played actually a video game where I was hooked up to these wires in my head, and I think I had a helmet on, and you played Pac-Man back in the day when Pac-Man was around, and you had to do it with your thinking with your brain.
And it worked.
It worked. Yeah. And that was 10 years ago or more.
Yeah. Well, so now they've gone from your head to your arm, so that's an improvement, I think.
Because you had all these wires.
Yeah. All right. So mine is, this is a Forbes article by Danielle Wiley, and she writes about how awful influencer marketing has become. And she says there's a lot of bad influencer marketing out there. I'm quoting from the article. The industry is full of celebrity-level social media personalities who charge a fortune for insincere product endorsements, blatant cash grab posts that come across like low-budget commercials, brands that are dazzled by follower accounts rather than real engagement. And she goes on about how bad it is and how great it used to be and how we need to get back to more sincere influencer, blah, blah, blah. It's a good article. I'd read it, but it got me to thinking about the influencer marketing, which, we've been doing it forever, basically through public relations. That's what public relations essentially is influencer marketing, finding the influencer, whether it's a reporter or a subject matter expert or whatever, and tapping them and their expertise and their audiences. But that's a good match. That's a solid match, right? What influencer marketing has become is a pay-to-play kind of thing that is like just go away. The reason I included this was I have been going to Vikings games actually going to the games, not watching them on TV when they play at home. And so last game, I was at US Bank Stadium after the Vikings game. What we do is we walk from the stadium to cross the Mississippi River several blocks in order to catch an Uber to go back, so we don't have to pay for parking and deal with all the congestion and everything. So you walk from the stadium to Mills Ruins Park and then across the Mississippi River on the Stone Arch Bridge. My last game, as I was walking from the stadium across to get my Uber, I counted 6 influencers posing for photo shoots. They're on the river, they're on the bridge with the river in back and the falls coming down from St. Anthony Falls, and they're all just posing away. And some of them have photographers with the professional gear. Others are getting shot with iPhones and so forth. But it's just, they're everywhere. It's ridiculous. I remember back in the day, when the media was all fawning over millennials about 10 or 15 years ago. the whole spate of generational articles came out. How do you manage millennials in the workforce, all that stuff, and they're finding over. At that time, marketers were all about millennials too, so I was talking a lot about millennials. And the one thing that I always put in my presentations was they are the first generation to have grown up with the notion that they have an audience. And so social media influencers is the result. This is the culmination of that dynamic. Of course,
Well,
the next generation, Generation V, is even worse. So I'm questioning what's going to happen to them when the likes and the views go away, BL.
well, going on with that, but I just want to go back to even farther than 10 or 15 years ago to the beginning of blogger influencers when we got to try out all kinds of wonderful things. My favorite being a Nikon D10 camera. And, you know, we said, because there are rules about this stuff, that we would say, this is a sponsored post. I am trying this, you know, and be honest about it, but write about the experience, good or bad. That was the provision was that if you didn't like it, you would say you didn't like it. If, you know, it was to be an honest review. When you give us something as good as a Nikon D10, it's going to be a great review. But, you know, this is not new, but it's become less honest.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate. But maybe what Facebook is experimenting with now will change that. Facebook is experimenting with hiding likes and video view numbers. So they think that this will improve the atmosphere on the platform, but for publishers and brands looking for visibility, this could be a problem, and they're going to have to start to rethink it. So what a Facebook spokesperson told Ad Age, we'll gather feedback to understand whether this change is going to improve people's experience. The theory is that people feel bad if they don't get a lot of likes, and so their self-worth is damaged, and that not showing likes might lead to less anxiety about sharing. But, you know, if you count on these tallies for your feedback and measuring your brand worth on Facebook, it could be a problem. So the like count was historically one of the inputs that Facebook's algorithm relies on to determine which posts are popular and which should get, therefore, more visibility. So they're saying maybe they could depress our urge to hit like. I don't know, when a friend posts something, I like it or I respond to it, those aren't going to show anymore. So under that hidden system that's being tested, the brands and the publishers will still see their tally, but it'll be hidden from the public. And the theory also is that people add their likes when they see that other people added their likes. So it might make individuals feel better. It changes the dynamics for publishers on Facebook. And, you know, I think what matters on Facebook is not the likes. I think it's getting rid of the bots and the trolls and the political scams. And so that's why this is in worst.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I mean, I think it's nice that the publishers will still have access to that data because that is crucial data. And there's something to be said. I mean, likes, I have always said popularity begets popularity, right?
Absolutely.
If the social proof on a piece of content tends to drive more engagement in that, because people figure, well, if other people like it, I must like it too, and they're going to pay attention.
Or I won't,
to
but I'm going to pay attention to it.
Right.
You know, like, what did they like about that?
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't get it.
And if your self-worth depends on whether you get a number of likes or not, there's
I feel sorry
deeper
for you.
Problems with you than
Exactly.
Facebook.
Exactly. That's my bad news.
All right, I'm done with bad news as well. We got new stuff. We got shiny new stuff next.
I do. This is a list from Social Media Today of 25 free keyword research tools, the 2019 edition. They do one every year, and there's some good things in there.
Very good. I have a cool one that I just started up playing with, and it looks fantastic. It's called Media Cloud, and this is a, quote, open source platform for media analysis. It's a joint project by MIT Center for Civic Media and the Berkeley Klein Center for Internet and Society at Harvard. And it's a free tool. You register for an account. And it has three main components to the tool. There's the Explorer component, and that allows you to create an instant analysis of how digital news media covers a topic that you plug in. You basically put in keywords and you can analyze. So I did Minnesota Vikings versus the Green Bay Packers versus the Chicago Bears versus the Detroit Lions, all our competitors. And then it gives you a graph of the interest, comparative interest in those topics and media coverage of those topics and so forth.
That
The
is
language
so cool.
used, the people and places mentioned. Yep. And then it's got a topic mapper. So you can build a topic for a deeper dive into your issue. They pull additional data from in media sources and show you everything from Explorer Plus data about media ecosystems like social media shares and influence networks. And then they have a source manager where you can view their print and broadcast and digital news collections that they've created and see what media sources they have, and then you can suggest your own media sources as well to add to the project. So I'm just playing one right now, but it looks pretty good. Yep.
Oh, the Berkman Klein Center does some extraordinary projects. So this sounds like a great thing.
Yeah.
Thanks. I don't have another.
All right. Well, I got a project I want to announce, and it's I've mentioned it a couple of times deliberately in this podcast.
Let me guess, it has something to do with the Minnesota Vikings.
It does. So I restarted my Minnesota Vikings chat blog at minnesotavikingschat.com. There's a Twitter account where we talk about the Vikings during games on game day. And since I'm going to the games this season, I often post videos that I've taken. I've got some sweet seats, so they're good videos of the highlights of the game, and there's a Facebook page as well. So any Minnesota Vikings fans out there, minnesotavikingschat.com.
They are so foolish not to just hire you, Dave.
Right.
If you're listening, Minnesota Vikings, you need to hire this man to represent you. That's a great one. I love that. Well, that brings us to your numbers.
It does. Okay, so we talk about this occasionally. You got to get an updated version of it. Most annoying online ads, and so this is from a survey of 1,300 people who have made online purchases by BizRate Insights. And top amongst those, so what types of digital ads do U.S. internet users consider annoying? Video ads that play automatically on websites without a sound. Of course, that tops the list. 66.7% said that. Video ads that play automatically on websites without a sound, 55%. Audio ads on streaming music services or podcasts, 47.4%.
Really?
Interesting. Well, I can see that. I mean, on streaming music services, especially, because though you're expecting it, if you're not paying for the premium service, it's still annoying being interrupted, your music being interrupted by ads. Audio ads, I think that's a thing that the podcast industry needs to figure out. And we've talked a lot about how best to do audio ads and podcasts. It's either the guests or the hosts themselves talking about the product, or, and I've only seen one person do this, having the sponsor as an integral part of the show and creating and contributing content as part of the show.
I think that's the best way to do it, and that's something that we have available.
Yeah, absolutely. Ads that show up based on my online searches, 42%. Static images, banner ads for products I've already purchased, 30%.
Those are so annoying. I already bought it. I'm not buying it again. Go away. Totally. That's an issue in programmatic that's so stupid.
It is. And, if you're doing, say, the next one is social media ads that are based on my interests and behaviors, and then banner ads for products I've browsed but not purchased. So I get that. Those are all about 33%, or roughly 33%, 34 to 36% range. I get that retargeting is annoying when it's not working, but for some, social media ads in particular, you can turn them off if you know how to if you're, as an advertiser, if you're sophisticated enough to do it, you can turn it off after somebody's bought something. So there's no need to annoy your customers who've already purchased from you and waste ad dollar. And then lastly, I don't know who these people are, but I don't consider digital ads annoying, 10%.
Well, I mean, the reality is that the reason that we have free internet has a lot to
Yeah.
do with
Yeah.
digital advertising. And, would you rather look at digital advertising or pay to search Google? So, I mean, we are indeed targets of advertising. And, if it annoys you, well, that's just too bad. But it is annoying as hell.
Yeah,
The
especially
ads,
when
the
it's
ones
poorly
that
done.
play when you're trying to read an article, like,
Yep.
get out of here.
Yep.
I mean, play before or play after, but don't play during. It's just really annoying. Anyway, that brings us to the end of the Beyond Social Media Show, episode 282. Can't believe we've been doing this since 2013. So if you want to find us, just look for Beyond Social Media Show, and Google will actually give you our podcasts, and you can listen to them right in the search results. We will have a link to everything we talked about tonight at beyondsocialmediashow.com/282. And I am here with David Erickson. He's on Twitter as D Erickson, on Instagram as DE Erickson, on YouTube as E Strategy, and he blogs at the really wonderful eStrategyblog.com, which you should immediately subscribe to when this podcast ends. I'm BL Ochman. I am on Twitter as What's Next. I blog at What's Next Blog. My YouTube channel is What's Next Blog. I'm my business site is blochman.com. The show, beyondsocialmediashow.com, and we're on Twitter, and we hope you'll follow us at BS Media Show. So we will be back next week, same time, same bat channel, and we look forward to seeing you then, and we thank you for listening tonight.
Thanks for watching and listening.